Hello and welcome back to the Heroes of the Storm Road to BlizzCon North America Open. I thought my obs was freezing for a second, but it seems like it is good to go, as are we, Anna.
We certainly are good to go, Gilly. Thank you to those of you who followed directions and tweeted us amazing, adorable animal and baby photos. And thank you also to all of you who did the other really important thing, which is checking out Heroes of the Storm and Misscliks as well. So we're glad to be back, and we're going to be bringing you our next best of three with a name you may recognize, the PLEYZ, versus a name you may not recognize but has already made us lol quite a bit, One Direction.
Indeed, Juan.
Juan Direction.
Juan Direction. I can't say it as lovely as you can, but I'm sure they will forgive me as we are casting their game. Yeah, we've got the PLEYZ and Juan Direction. Obviously, we know a lot more about the PLEYZ just because we've casted them a lot more throughout Heroes Hype, and then we've also seen them as they made it to the round of 8 in the June Open for Road to BlizzCon, where they had to battle several very high-ranking teams, like both of the Cloud9s and Tempo Storm at that.
Yeah, and complexity as well. They really had to fight hard, and they did. So they're back again, looking for more, and they're going to be drafting against One Direction, who, like Gilly said, we don't have as much experience with. But both of these teams are on equal footing on the road to BlizzCon. They're battling it out for not only prize money, but the right to compete in the North American finals and potentially be one of the teams that represents us at BlizzCon in the World Championship.
Yeah, we can mention how that will work. So we're going to have an America's Championship. And so we've already got one team who will be going to that. That'll be Tempo Storm. They're the ones who won the June Open. The top two who get through this qualifier, this July one, will get to go on as well. Now, we do have Tempo Storm in this qualifier, but depending on how things shake out, if Tempo Storm were to say win again, then it would be the next two. So they've got all the contingencies planned for, don't worry guys. But either way, we're going to have two more teams emerge and go to the America's Championship from this qualifier. And then we'll have two more from the August qualifier, and then one from the Latin American Championship, one from the Southeast Asia one, and one from New Zealand and Australia. So that will be 8 teams who will battle in the America's Championship, and 2 of them will move on, the top 2, to BlizzCon.
There is a lot of money on the line as well. I can't remember the number, something like 1.2 million total prize pool or something like that. Yeah, 1.2 million. And the top 32 teams in this particular Open, in the July North American Open, are going to get paid out. So there's a lot of money and a lot of it going around. And these teams are really looking to get their hands on it, so much so that they are actually starting to draft already, Gilly.
They are indeed, so let's hop over to that. And it looks like we've got a couple of interesting bands, as we're going to see Brightwing Band. Brightwing is one that's kind of fallen out of favor from a lot of teams lately because she had significant changes in the last patch, and I think teams are still trying to figure her out a little bit. But they're still kind of concerned about a possible Brightwing, and because of that and their pickup of Muradin, that makes me think that they're looking for a possible melee assassin later on in their draft.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sorry, Gilly, I'm distracted by this awesome chat. They've been really great today, and I apologize. I'm not picking up what you're putting down so quickly.
Worries.
But Brightwing, yes, I was surprised to see her, and I wish we could see her played, but it's nice that she gets a nod and gets banned.
Yeah, definitely the case. And of course, what I mentioned with the melee assassins is that she is very good versus melee assassins because she does have that polymorph, and so is Muradin.
Right.
So the fact that they've picked up one of those heroes who's so good versus them and then banned another one makes me think that that's where they're headed. But one of them has already been picked up, as Zeratul has been grabbed by the PLEYZ, in addition to Johanna and Azmodan.
We haven't seen Azmodan yet today. That's going to be fun. Get some dunks up in here.
Yeah, we will. We'll be playing a little basketball with that Globe of Annihilation. And I love Johanna and Azmodan together, that combination, because Johanna is so good at helping Azmodan gather those taste for blood stacks for his Globe of Annihilation, because she has Condemn and can pick up Knight Takes Pawn, one of your favorite talents at level 1.
I love that one. Absolutely. She can pull everyone toward her and create an epicenter of damage for for someone like Asmodan for sure. We now have Jaina and Muradin here for Juan direction. And we have Muradin, who's one of the strongest warriors for tanking, and Jaina, who's one of the strongest damage dealers, going to be joined by Tyrael. And he's a favorite of yours, Gilly. It's going to be a two-tank composition there.
Yeah, they're going to have a really good composition for engaging so far, as they do have Tyrael and Muradin. Tyrael can Judgment, Muradin can hop in, and we're going to have Lily as the support to help with that. So that's something that's a bit new. One Direction really showing that they're favoring controlling the support fight a little bit here. They've banned both Uther and Brightwing. They've picked up Lily. So they've really said, okay, the PLEYZ, you have to either pick up Malfurion or Rhaegar here.
I wish sometimes you guys could see my facial expressions when I'm watching these drafts, because when I saw Lily, it was the like wide-eyed kind of, what? Wait, oh, so you did that. That's interesting. So we are going to probably, I would say, need some more damage out of One Direction, but in the meantime, the PLEYZ do pick up Rhaegar and Sylvanas, so they're going to have some strong push going on. And One Direction is going to grab Tychus. This all happened so fast. I'm just trying to soak it all in.
It did. I've casted a few games with Lily already. I've casted the Storm League, which had some Lily games. And it's interesting that Lily's starting to get a little bit more play now. The change to blinds and the change to how daze tech works, where some things daze instead of stunning, means that it's a little bit easier to get that Jug of 1,000 Cups off. And there's not really a lot of stuns to deal with that on the side of the PLEYZ. In fact, it's really just, I think, Johanna using her Blessed Shield, or, I mean, you could use a Void Prison, but it will just pause it until she comes out of the Void Prison. So that's going to be something that the PLEYZ will have to consider in terms of her healing. They also will be able to blind Zeratul, which will be nice, because if he comes into the back line, she can quickly hit that Blinding Wind, and then he'll be blinded for a bit. He'll have to either step out of the fight or, could possibly get taken down in that time.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm excited to see her get a little more use, and, she's typically kind of regarded, she is one of the heroes that's ranked easy in terms of play, and so in the competitive scene a lot of times that gets her a little bit less respect, but certainly with something like Jug of 1,000 Cups, she can be a real game changer in terms of a team fight. So I'm interested to see how when paired with two tanks and then two strong damage dealers, how she's going to be able to kind of hold her team together with that large AoE heal.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what their game plan is going to be on the side of One Direction, as they do have really two strong frontline heroes. My guess is they'll probably have Tyrael go with the Judgment as a really strong initiator, and then from there they can kind of follow in with Muradin being able to keep heroes off of Jaina and Tychus. But where all of that will fit in will remain to be seen. Meanwhile, I wanted to point out that the PLEYZ have a pretty scary composition. Not only do they have Sylvanas for push, but Asmodan is great at being able to push those lanes as well. So One Direction is going to have to really keep track of where these heroes are, and if there's any sort of rotations, make sure that they don't start taking too much damage structurally from the PLEYZ.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sylvanas is such a multi-tool as a hero. She really can do a lot by herself, and she can also do a lot with the help of her teammates, and she can also do a lot with battleground objectives. This one's a little bit different than, say, something like Dragonshire or Haunted Mines or anything where you have a big beastie that you kind of need to protect from structures. She can really be valuable there. But of course, on Cursed Hollow, you're dealing with a curse once you get 3 tributes, and it's very similar kind of to what Sylvanas does naturally. So when she's either paired with the curse, that can be a huge problem, or she can kind of continue the curse throughout the game and do a lot of damage in places where you aren't really expecting her.
That's exactly right. Guys, we are ready for adventure, as is Lily. We are going to get to see our first Lily and Asmodan game of the day. I am pumped. Are you pumped, Anna?
Oh, I'm so pumped, Gilly. I am muy emocionada, as Juan Direction might say.
Oh, pulling out a little bit of the Spanish. We were doing that in chat a bit too. It went to mixed results, but that's okay because we are proud that we could do that just a little bit. We are loading into this round of 3, or best of 3, between the PLEYZ and Juan Direction.
It's funny because in Spanish there's no T in direction, so I've been like trying to add a T when I say dirección, but there's, yeah, it's dirección in Spanish. So you guys need to choose whether we're speaking English or Spanish. I guess it could be, well, you know, you say it however you want, all right? We don't discriminate here, but I'm probably gonna break out into Spanish throughout this game. I'm sorry, I apologize. But in the meantime, let's introduce our players. I'm gonna start with the PLEYZ, who are going to be wearing blue, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly,
yep.
Yes.
Lex Uther is going to be on Rhaegar. Zeus will play Azmodan. Pirate Rum will play Zeratul. Daihu will take Johanna, and Evan Drinde will be on Sylvanas.
And on the side of Juan Direction, we have Orboyan. That's going to be fun. Orboyan on Tassadar, or Tyrael. XC Mania playing Muradin. Jaina will be played by Rumi Stove. And in the bottom, we have Slaggers on Tychus and Dark Cruade 15. There's an S missing there. Playing Lily.
I think you a letter, man.
Accidentally a word. All right. Well, we've introduced the teams. That's all we can do here. From here, the teams have to make it happen.
I really like Rumi Stove. It makes me feel like you're baking me a really big birthday cake, and I really appreciate that.
I do as well. Slaggers does not appreciate trying to be ganked, which is what happened with 4 members of the PLEYZ, but it was not going to be the case. He was able to get away. It looks like for now we're seeing a huge rotation going down as Zeus is trying to start picking up stacks. I mentioned these before. He picks up Taste for Blood at level 1. Enemies killed by the Globe of Annihilation's impact and permanently increase its damage by 2. He can get up to 500, and this is a little bit bigger of a battleground for Azmodan, so he's really going to have to work on those rotations, which is why we see such a strong one coming out from the PLEYZ.
Yeah, and we'll see that kind of rhythmic motion between them because they also don't want to leave lanes unattended to lose out in experience this early in the game.
They've really got it down too. Johanna uses her Knight takes pawn at 1 to pull in with that condemned, start doing a little bit of damage. Then they have the cleave from Zeratul to do a little bit more damage, and then from there he goes ahead and drops down the globe to start picking up the stacks. It gets a little bit easier for him to pick up those stacks later on, especially once he picks up Black Pool for his heroic ability. But until then, this is a very team-focused composition. You have to have synergy. You have to have practiced this in order to be able to really effectively get those stacks for him.
He is looking very fly in his skin as well, and he's being very well protected by his teammates right now. We see great communication coming out from the PLEYZ, which is something we know we can expect from them. And looking at Juan Direction, though, they're certainly not one to be underestimated, as we do have Muradin and Lily lying in wait for Daihu. Slaggers there to help out as well. They know what's going on, and they're making sure that they don't let the lanes become pushed, and they're not missing out on any experience either, to the point where they're actually leading by just a tiny bit in experience.
There's some really cool things that you can do. Obviously, taking out one of your primary people who's helping with that stack building is very good. Azmodan himself is nice, but he does have the highest health pool of any hero in the game, so that can be kind of difficult. But you can also do fun things like if you have a Tassadar, shield the minions right when the globe would go down. So we're just trying to see them, we're seeing them try to do all they can to stop that. Unfortunately, Dark Cruade, getting very, very low, is going to have to get back out. Can't easily do so thanks to her trait Fast Feet. She starts taking damage, she gets faster.
Which is something that all of us would like to have in life. When you're in trouble, you get out of it easier. I mean, I don't think there's much better than that. We do see now that Juan Direction is going to surround this tribute. Looks like Orboyan is going to go out of his way to pursue Azmodan. He's going to be a little far forward, but joined by Xymania and Ruby Stove. He's going to have plenty of room to do that. Actually, Daihu coming around behind is going to interrupt the channel from Dark Cruade, and is going to leave her vulnerable to Zeus for just a moment. Still maintaining pretty good control of this tribute, though. The PLEYZ are just managing to make sure that they interrupt each time that channel starts.
Yeah, you notice the PLEYZ are never trying to channel this. They, this entire time, have people soaking up both lanes, with Sylvanas left alone taking out both of the towers on top. So all they need to do is try to stop the channel as much as possible without being taking anyone down. And in fact, The rotation from Rhaegar enabled them to be able to take out Lily, which is a hard one to take out. Daihu does get very low, but we actually may see the PLEYZ, on top of soaking this entire time, pick up the tribute.
Man, they should have been trading that tribute for the damage that they were able to do in the top lane, but they managed to get away with not only that damage, but the tribute as well. That means they have 1 out of the 3 tributes they need for a curse. One Direction can't be happy with that result.
What happened there too was because Sylvanas had such a good lane push, she took out both of the towers, the PLEYZ hit 7, and their opponent's Juan Direction did not have those level 7 talents, and that is a huge problem, so they had to back off. They also lost their healer, and that was the reason that the PLEYZ were able to capitalize on that. So really great job by them in doing so. Now Zeus is getting stunned and taking a lot of damage. He's going to try to get away here and will be able to do so. I mentioned he is very tanky, and that is definitely the case.
We have another tribute spawning now. It's going to be there in about 10 seconds. It is closer to the side of the PLEYZ on the map, so that may give them a little bit of an advantage. But as of right now, we do have a large contingent from One Direction here to deal with that as well.
Juan Direction has come in. Once again, Sylvanas is up top completely by herself. She's also got the bound minion from Azmodan helping with that as well. So they're going to get some serious work done on the fort. And because Azmodan has such great range on that Globe of Annihilation, he's just continually being able to stop this channel. It's like him, and then the next one, Daihu, throws the shield glare in. They're just so coordinated in being able to stop the channel. Once again, One Direction are having to move back out of this tribute, and they're basically doing a 5v4 constantly.
Also, there were siege giants in that top lane, so once they arrived, Sylvanas left that top lane. She's now on her way down to seal the deal in terms of the domination of the PLEYZ. She's going to hit the final shot there on Tyrael. Hey, I heard you guys needed some help. I'll just throw an arrow in there.
Yeah, you just need like one withering fire, right? It's no big deal. With that fort pickup, with the tribute, now we also have level 10 for the PLEYZ. They've picked up the black pool that I mentioned for Azmodan, as well as ancestral healing, the void prison, blessed shield, and wailing arrow. So very standard heroic abilities being picked up here by the PLEYZ.
Yeah, I really have been interested in Blackpool since we've seen that happening lately. How do you think that is going to affect these team fights? You mentioned earlier, maybe we'll see it in this engagement.
Well, yeah, it just amplifies his damage of all of his abilities, attack and ability damage, and it also amplifies the minions too, which is something not a lot of people realize. And that means that it's going to make it a lot easier for him to pick up stacks, and it also means if he is underneath, if he's got it underneath him and not being pushed off of it, and he's throwing globes out just like we saw, it's already dealing a ton of damage to anybody it hits. I'm going to check out and see if we can see how many stacks he has. Already has 148, and that's with just picking up his heroic ability. It's going to start really ramping up quickly now that he has it. Look at him, the minion's going down so fast here as he clears the wave on bottom.
My goodness. Daihu is going to try to channel this tribute up here in the top of the map, but One Direction has 5 members there, and they are at the advantage in terms of the way these rock outcroppings are positioned, so it's not likely that Daihu will be able to defeat them all, but he is sticking around long enough to make them a little bit nervous.
Yeah, you can always throw the shield glare out just like that and stop it for as long as possible. Johanna is so tanky, so it's not an issue for her to take a bunch of damage like that, but she is going to finally get zoned out, but not before the boss is picked up. So really great job by the PLEYZ, knowing they don't need that tribute, instead picking up a boss so that maybe in the next tribute fight, their opponents will be so engrossed in fighting a boss that they can't possibly come, and they might even be fighting 2 bosses at that rate.
It's really awesome to watch the way the PLEYZ are always one step ahead of their move, meaning they're already planning the next thing once they're finishing up the last thing. We can see that now as they go for this boss on this side of the map and are engaged in a team fight. They have all members coming to attend right now.
That wailing arrow was so huge, and a giant globe. I think that was a globe. Yes, it was, from Zeus, who comes around, takes out Jaina. It might even be enough. Also, Burn is going to go down on Murden, and he will be taken out as well. 3 heroes down. The boss just now being cleaned up, but not before taking out that bottom fort. I want to point out, we have not yet had a curse, and yet the PLEYZ have taken out 2 forts already.
Wow, that's incredible. And they're now going to grab this boss on this side of the map as well, and it's going to be luck favoring them as the tribute spawns right next to them, and there's just no way that One Direction's going to be able to get there in time to do anything about it. That means that it's going to be a curse at the exact same time as a boss for the PLEYZ.
And this is difficult because nothing is going to be attacking this boss save the heroes themselves. So we're going to see members from the PLEYZ escort this boss along a little bit here, really force One Direction to play as passively as they have to because they are down a talent tier, and the globe's coming out. It's dealing a ton of damage already. Rumi's still very low, and Tyrael will be the first one to go down here. Already now, only 4 left to defend versus this boss and curse.
And we already see the wall and both turrets going down. We also see Lily falling very quickly as she's the only one not in that Void Prison. The Void Prison does get surrounded, and we do see everyone but Muradin bite the dust.
Poor Muradin's gonna go and hang out by himself. The respawn timers are fairly low at this point. We're only 10 minutes into the game, and of course being down levels means One Direction's respawn timers are pretty quick still as well. So Tyrael's back out, Lily will be up as well, but the PLEYZ don't care. They're going for core right now.
They certainly are, and this is 10 minutes into the game. I don't think there's going to be much to stop them either. They're focused all on the core. Zeus is, yeah, I mean, Gilly, they've done it. They've won the game.
That was insane.
I mean, we mentioned how the PLEYZ are a top-tier team. We've seen them get results, and it's really cool to watch when you can see that coordination in action. You can see how dominant they are, even at this this earlier part of the bracket. And like I said, what's really impressive when we watch them is that they have such certainty with which things they are going to do next. You never see, not never, but you rarely see them waffle over a decision.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They knew exactly what they were capable of doing as well. They went for a boss, they gave up a tribute to go for a boss, then from there immediately went to another boss knowing they were ahead in levels. So very, very calculated, great play coming out from the PLEYZ. One Direction has got their work cut out for them for sure, and I think part of it's going to come down to the draft. I mean, they really let the PLEYZ have exactly what they wanted to make some plays there.
I think so too. It'll be really fun to see what they do next time, whether we see some honor bands or some respect bands rather.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to getting right into it. I bet these teams are too. With a short game like that, I'm sure they're going to want to turn around and try one more time.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Hopefully we will be right back then. We're going to take a short break while we let these guys set up the games. When we come back, game 2 in this best of 3.